Hey guys, it's me, Jay Sanzo again, and today I wanted to do an S9 Plus refurbishing from beginning to end. No cuts, no edits, just do the S9 Plus today. I have this one on my hand, and the reason I'm doing this video is because some of us, we're still trying to get the hang of that wire, and we're trying to figure out how to do that, and I see that many of us are having a hard time doing that. So in this video I'm going to be more detailed on how I've been doing it. I know that doing these Samsung refurbishes is something of a tricky business, and I also know that using the ice machine over here, it's either hit or miss. This ice machine can go down to negative 185. Yet for me, using the ice machine personally, it's either hit or miss. Especially when there's a lot of cracks on the glass. It's not like before with the 7 Edge where it was the glass was laminated on a sheet, then laminated on an LCD, which made it a lot better. But the glass on the S8s, they chip off. There's no sheet laminated in between the glass and the LCD, much like you would say a windshield of a car. I don't know how else to best describe that, but because it doesn't want to come off in one go, I refrain from using the ice machine. And a little bit about myself: when I started using the wire, it's a funny story, you guys. The reason I use the wire personally is because the ice machine had broken down. My ice machine had broken down, and I said, "Gosh, how am I gonna go through this? How am I supposed to refurbish this?" And it took me a week to put something together. And I drive an hour away from home to come over here to work, and on the drive, I would kind of think about it. I would try to figure this out, and I said, screw it. I'm gonna attempt this with the wire. I've done it with other Samsung before. Why not? Why should this one be any different? I don't see nothing going out of my way to get the wire through here, so I'm gonna figure it out while my ice machine is down and broken. So that's what I set out to do. Was it an easy task? No. It was not easy. It was hard. I didn't want to do it. I was like, man, I really want to get my ice machine back up. I'm just gonna do this and wait till my ice machine comes back up, because as far as the work goes, it cannot stop. We are in a business where we have to always keep on going no matter what. We have to keep moving forward. And by accident, when the S8s had came out, and bear in mind, this happened when the S8s had came out, and I didn't know how the ice machine was going to react with the first S8 or S8 Plus when they came out in the market. Although I did know how the S7 Edge would come out, and the S7s, we all know how well the ice machine works for those, but for the S8s, I didn't know. I really didn't know. I just went for the hot plate and the wire, and I did it that way. So if you can follow me in the video here, and let's look at the hot plate. This is, again, I put my hot plate at 135 hot Celsius. I don't put it too hot, I just put it just right. And just to let you guys know, maybe your hot plates are different than mine. Some hot plates are built differently. The temperatures are actually different. If you can see the temperature gauge right there, it's at 132, but just bear in mind that these machines may say the temperature, but if you were to put a laser heat temperature gun and shot at the surface of the hot plate, it might read at a different temperature. So just bear in mind, I'm just letting you guys know that not all hot plates are the same and give out the true temperature gauge. I'm running it at 132 because I feel comfortable, and if I were to buy another hot plate, it would be just the exact same identical company that it's produced, so that way I know it's at the same comfortable comfortability that I'm using with, that I'm already used to. If I'm gonna use something else, I have to kind of like mess with it already and kind of feel for which temperature is the perfect temperature, because you don't want to get it too hot, because what happens, there's gonna be, look at this one. This is an S9 Plus that we're gonna be doing today, and there's the hotter it is, the more what it will do. It's not gonna hurt the LCD, but there's going to be an impression of all the shattered glass onto your polarizer. So we don't want that. Anyways, this one, I am comfortable with the temperature, so that's first and foremost. This Samsung Galaxy S9 Plus that I have here is quite a bit shattered. I'm still going to be able to go through it with the wire, as you'll see in the video. And if you come take a closer look right there, it's almost as if there's a dead pixel. We get that, guys. We get a lot of these they're very common. That's another thing about refurbishing. When we think about refurbishing, we think about, oh, you know, it's gonna come out nice and perfect. We would love to. We would love this to come out nice and perfect. But the truth of the matter is, our customers that drop these devices, when they drop it, it can drop anyway, anyhow. It's every drop is unique to its own device, if that makes any sense. So there might be black dots, dead pixels. There's gonna be a bleeding on the screen, and the cracks are always gonna be different. So when I go with the wire, I always expect this to happen. And every time I refurbish, I'm always looking for SBI as well, slight burn image on the screen. That's another factor. That's why I'm not so sure how swap programs are gonna work. If I were to do a swap program, it'd be a little difficult, because I'm not gonna wanna swap a good, clean, crisp LCD over an SBI. I wouldn't do that. And I remember when I did the swap program and I had failed to do so, when they would tell me, oh, it's a good LCD, and I went and did the exchange, I made a loss of money. And we've all been there, and we've all done this. And especially the dead pixels. The dead pixels, they're really hard to see. As you can tell, this one's kind of hard to see as well. And there's gonna be a lot of dead pixels with super shattered glass that is hard to tell. So they're gonna tell you, oh, hey, by the way, it's a good LCD, but when you take off the glass, it's just gonna have a dead pixel. So just bear in mind, and know that it's good to have an open mind. It's never have this mentality, oh, it has to be perfect because my business is perfect and I want, you know, this and that. You know, just be in an open mind that us as refurbishers, we're trying our absolute best to serve you guys. It's not, we're not trying to, you know, we're not cutting any corners. We don't do that, unless you really wanna, you know, stab somebody in the back. But for those who do that, I don't know how you're gonna last. But anyways, most of us, we're genuine. We want to help you, and most and foremost, if we're doing business to business, we want to help our businesses even more, because you guys help us survive. Look at all the Samsungs we have to do here. This is the product of our genuine work that we do for everybody. We do this on a daily, and if you look over here, there is a box full of Samsung refurbishes that I've already did for my clients. They're gonna be really happy to see that all their Samsungs have been nice and refurbished. A box of 50 LCDs in here. I don't know how much the value of that is, but I'm very thankful for the people that continue to support my business, and I love sharing these videos to you guys. So there you have it. Let's begin. Sorry for that introduction, but I had to let it out there. So let's start this. Taking this battery off, taking the motherboard out, and taking the shirt off because it is hot in here, you guys, and I have these hot plates on all the time. So with this one, it looks like it's kind of shattered here, so I'm gonna go on this corner. I'm gonna make an opening there, and I am gonna make an incision with the wire. Another reason I'm doing this video is because when we go through the wire, unfortunately, some of us, we cut the polarizer, and it sucks hearing that. You know, not only does the ice machine can separate the LCD and split it in two, but with the wire we can also see the damage and risk of going through that polarizer. So yeah, it's unfortunate that it happens, but it happens to all of us. You know, we try to keep this at the minimum of defect rates, but we're only human, you know. This video, I'm gonna go through it and share with you guys, even if it goes through the polarizer or not, because it has happened to me. It happens to me all the time. Not all the time, but I've been really successful with doing these things. I'm not saying that it hasn't happened to me. It's pretty much what I'm saying. You know, but what I'm hearing is what it sounds like it's happening to everyone else all the time. And I get that. Let me see. Nope, still needs a little bit more work. See, I kind of feel for it. Another thing that I need to share with you guys, the wire. Everybody tells me what kind of wire. That's something that I left out from the last video. The stronger, the thicker, the better. That's what she said. The stronger, the thicker, the better. But yeah, because it doesn't break. And I have a better control over it. And no matter how I hold the wire, it just doesn't seem to snap as easier as a thin wire. So personally, I like the thin wire, the 0.1 wire, not the 0.00, whatever it is, the 0.1, and we're good. So, oh no, not yet. Let's make an opening first before anything else. All right, let's get started, you guys. And again, sorry for the long introduction. I just needed to get that out there. If you want to look closely on how I'm getting this out, see there's these little shatters in there, and I just kind of like pick it out. You know, like so. You know, I don't really, I'm not really nervous about it, or I don't get, you know, like, oh man, this is really shattered. Just kind of be calm about it. You know, you just don't want to get pressured on. You don't want to let the work give you too much pressure. You know, just look at it as the way it should be, and just keep on going. You know. As you can see here, I'm just little by little picking at it because it's really shattered right there, and you know, just kind of going through it. Really nice, really simple, you know. And again, we did show you that the LCD was working, so we're just gonna make an incision with this tool here and take out that black adhesive that's on the very bottom. Look at that. See how it kind of like lifted up? See now, since it lifted up, I'm going to pull it off because it's really hot. Look at that. Nice and simple. Nice and easy. See that? So, I just take off this little piece of glass. And we have created an opening. Let's see if there's any shards in between because we don't want to get any shards. See, sometimes when they're shattered like this, a little piece of glass may get stuck in between the flex cable, and when that happens, unfortunately your LCD is doomed to have a line in it. So we don't want that, and unfortunately we cannot control how shattered the glass is upon impact. That's something we cannot control, unfortunately. You know, it's not our fault that the glass is this shattered. Okay, so what we do when that happens, we just keep on moving forward. Don't sweat about it. Okay. So now I'm gonna make an incision. If you can look closely how I'm gonna make that incision, I just grab the wire and insert. And if I have a hard time, then I keep on trying another different way. See, look at that. I've created an incision, okay? Now I'm gonna overlap with the glass and just kind of like smooth it in, you know? See that? See how this incision was successful? But it gets kind of hard when it's super shattered like that. But we keep on going. We don't let that shatter, you know, intimidate us. We just keep on going. If it's so shattered, we find another way. We find a way. In this instance, because the shatter is immense, we're just gonna pick at it. Grab one of those plastic sheets that you get from the glass, and you pick at it, okay? And what I'm doing here is I'm making an incision so that the wire can go through, okay? Again, you guys, we cannot control the glass, how shattered it is. We're just trying our best not to damage the LCD any more than it is besides the glass being shattered. We're trying to save it. This is the reason why we're in this business, to remaster or repurpose the LCD. So again, let's make an incision. See how that helped? Look at that. No problem. I gotta go nice and smooth and check for any errors, because as you know, with this type of shatter, we know that the wire may go with the polarizer, but with calm and steadiness, we should be able to go through, not a problem. Okay, 25% in, and it's not giving me a big deal. Okay, look at that. Look how nice and neat the wire's going through. So a lot of you are having a hard time crossing the tipping point. I call it the tipping point. I don't know, that's the way I describe it. When you finally grab this wire and overlap the edge, and I know that you guys have a hard time. So what I do to prevent that, I stop right here. I don't want to overlap that. I don't want to overlap the tipping point. I keep it right there. Meanwhile, I work right here on the top. You see this top right here? I kind of work on it. And as you know, these cell phones that Samsung produced, they have these antenna gauges right here. Well, I don't know what they're called, but I feel like they're like little antenna thingies on the side of the frame. There's one here and one there, and there's another bottom one right here and another one bottom on the right here. I make it so that this wire passes over that, and once it passes through, I know that it's good enough to do the tipping point. So let's go through. I put the blade there so it can go through the crack, by the way. That's why I do that. So let's grab that wire. Not all the way to that it crosses this tipping point. We don't want to do that, because before, when I used to do this, I'd have a whole mess of bad luck. So now we're gonna focus on this end, okay? And this takes a lot of practice, you guys. What I used to do to prevent, because it would happen to me a lot in the past, I would grab one of these sheets of plastic papers or whatever they are, little plastic sheets, and I would grab with the wire and I would insert this plastic sheet all the way up right here to prevent any polarizer damage. That's the only reason why I did that. I would cut a little bit between the glass and the LCD through the OCA, and that would make it easier for my incisions to go through. But there was a time where I was even damaging the LCD with this going through it. So I just stopped using it, and I became very, very well hardened with the wire. So again, let's go through nice and slow and at a somewhat of an angle. Because I've cut all this way, it makes it easier for this point to go through. And as you can see, there's no, if you want to get closer to this right here, much closer, as you can see right here, there's no signage of anything that's being cut of the polarizer. And if I keep on just, pulling and pulling, it shouldn't have any sense or identification that the polarizer is being cut. It was just one smooth strike. The tipping point is what I call it. So now that the tipping point has been crossed, I go over the ear mesh. And as you know, the ear mesh, sometimes you guys have a odd way of doing it. My wire sometimes snaps, but it's okay. I can keep on going at it again. But what I do is I just kind of lift the wire up, forcing the glass to go up with it, and I just kind of cut through. You see that? So nice and perfect, you guys. Nice and clean, so that we know that when we go through our LCDs, we're not damaging them. We're making sure that our product is safe and well handled. We don't want to damage any of your LCDs. That's the last thing we want to do for our businesses. We don't want to do any of that. We want to make sure that our customers are happy, our clients are well taken care of, and at the end of the day, everybody's happy. We're here to help. Bottom line, we're here to help. Okay, so that was a successful split. Don't be stressing about it. It's very easy, you guys, once you get it, because I'm finding out that for some of you it's something new. For some of you it's a little difficult, or maybe I found a way to use a wire and know how to make incisions. I don't want to make a bad remark, but you guys get what I mean, right? A deadly killer is what they say. So let's take all this glass out. This is very shattered, you guys. And sometimes I just try to make sure that there's no glass stuck in between the flex cable, the bottom part, because sometimes that can happen. And we just gotta be very careful of that. So I'm just kind of making sure that there's no glass there. Just picking at it with my finger. And if you can get closer right here, I don't know if you can see that, you guys. See this? See right there? I'm gonna use this glass as a pointer. But can you see right there that impression that the shattered made? It's almost like a crater right there. You see that? Wild, right? So just kind of picking at it, because we don't want any of this shattered to stab the top layer of the LCD. So now let's move this LCD to the cleaning plate. And on the cleaning plate, I have it at 150 Celsius, hot, very hot, piping hot. Okay, I grabbed it with, normally have my hands with 2 hands because it's more precise. They say that I would be a perfect surgeon, but the sight of blood really gives me a headache. So I can't watch the sight of blood on anybody. One little cut and I'm like, ah! Let's get this clean. One thing about using the spindle, it's a real cool tool, but just be very careful with it. I know sometimes we misuse the spindle, and that in itself can damage the LCD. We don't want that. Okay, it feels a little loose. I'm gonna tighten it up. Nice and clean. Nice and clean. I see some shards of glass. Let's take that off. Nice and clean. Perfect. Nice and beautiful. So now let's get the 3M remover I get from O'Reilly's Auto Shop. It's the best. And Mr. Clean. As for Mr. Clean, I really love this material that Mr. Clean has. It's perfect when cleaning the surface of the LCD. I don't know nothing else that's better than this sponge that Mr. Clean has created. The person who had mentioned about Mr. Clean, props to him, Alex Zavala. He is an amazing person, an amazing refurbisher, and his abilities to refurbishing is amazing. He's on Facebook Friends, and if you don't know him, make friends with him, because the stuff that he knows and the stuff that he's able to produce is bar to none. He is one amazing, hardworking man. He is the one that showed me Mr. Clean, and I haven't gone back ever since. I used to use a paper towel, but the only thing about paper towels is that they're paper towels. You have to throw them away after a good use. This one, I can keep on using Mr. Clean for until I'd say another 20 more LCDs, which is amazing. Amazing investment that I've made with Mr. Clean. They come in little brick forms, so what I do is I grab scissors and I chop them up into little pieces of bricks. That way I can save as much as I can. And if some of the stuff doesn't want to come out, I just kind of lightly go with my nail. You know. When I used to do this in the beginning, people would be so amazed that the ice machine wouldn't hurt the LCD, you know. And I said to myself, well, if that's true on the opposite end of the spectrum on heating it up, let's see on how much temperature on the heat side of the spectrum going up on Celsius would affect the LCD. So when I tested it out, it seemed like it didn't harm it at all. And I kept on heating it up, and I tested it to the point where I would damage the LCD, which was at, I think it was at 190 or 180 Celsius, very hot. So as long as I kept it below that and I was able to cut through the wire, I said to myself, I'm golden. I'm able to do this, no problem. I don't know anybody else out there. Sometimes I myself feel alone in doing this, but when I meet you guys, and it makes me feel a lot more happier to know that you guys are out there, because in the end, this isn't easy work. This is not easy. You know, we claim that it is, and we make remarks. It's like we have it, but honestly, you guys, we make it seem like it's a secret. You know, this ain't a secret. If the Chinese over there are able to do it somehow, some way, their methods, their secret methods, we're able to do it too on our end. The difference between the Chinese and us is that they have been doing this for a very long time, and that's all they do. We're too focused on different things and aspects in our lives that make this particular job a little tricky. So now let's get a card and cut through the sides of the LCD with the black adhesives, because we all know that the black adhesive is holding down the LCD in place, and it pushes out any glass that might have gotten stuck in between on the bottom. See that? Now let's go on the other side. people are asking me about the S10s, if they're able to be done. And to that short answer question, I say yes. They're able to be done with the same technique, same way. I'm not changing a thing. When I'm able to, I'll show you guys that the S10s are possible as well. But for now, let's just do the S9s, take it nice and easy, and make sure that these are possible first, you know. I'm just kind of taking off that black adhesive on the back of it. So there you have it, you guys. Look how flexed out that is. How kind of like almost kind of like bent out because of the heat. And when I go to press this, it's gonna be really hard. This is not easy to press when it's like this. You don't want that. But let's first test this out, make sure how it went. I know the LCD looks a little funny, but it's no joke. Gotta make sure that these things work. As you can see, there's that dead pixel right there. I don't know if you can see it through the video, but that dead pixel was caused by the shatter of the glass. So we're letting it turn on, making sure everything works. Hi there. So as you can see again, the dead pixel's right there, caused by the shatter of the glass. They're sometimes bigger than that. We never 100% really know what really gone in there. So let's just test the touch, make sure everything's going good. I like to make sure that the keyboard is working. The top part of the screen is working. See these buttons right here? This is how I test the LCDs when you can't get through the phone, you know? I just want to make sure that the top portion of the screen is functioning and also the bottom part. So there it is. Emergency call. Beautiful. This will test the center of the screen. So now that we know that this is a working, beautiful LCD that has not been cut through the polarizer, bear in mind, we are going to be able to successfully take this and get it ready for a press. Now I have another S9 Plus right here that has been split already. Look how nice and straight that is compared to this one. So what I do is I lay them down and I grab one of these plastic sheets. I save them all the time, every time I get them out of the glass, and I use the batteries as weights. I know it's a funny way of doing it, but that's how I do it, believe it or not. And because I have a lot of time and between now and then to do so many of them, usually I keep them overnight, so that the next day I prepare the glass and get them pressed, because by then they'll be nice and flat. The reason I do that is so that it doesn't get cumbersome while pressing it, you know. But for now, we're just gonna kind of, you know, work with what we got for this video and just press it right then and there. Usually I take over a day to do this, or at least probably, I'm over exaggerating. I probably leave it out there for like 2 hours, you know, because as you well know, you want to get everything prepped up and cleaned for your presses. That's the reason why each press comes out really clean, just like that, ready for resale. So let's go over here on the press machine and let's get this guy ready for press. We have the S9 Plus. A shout out for Nancy, also Jerry Dean, and Jack. Those are the 3 guys I buy from China. I'm pretty sure you guys know of them. And yeah, they're the ones who brings them to me like this, and I buy the original. I don't like getting secondhand stuff. Well, they claim it's original, and between the original glass and the aftermarket glass, this does look like it's legit. Sometimes they do give it to me with little slight hints of scratches. I go by a don't ask, don't tell policy, because there's some, you know, theories that I can think about my head as to why that is, but I'm not gonna discuss that over the video, you know. So we're here just to make a refurbishing and, you know, make it as clean as we can, you know. So this Y&J machine is built for Samsungs, iPhones, and tablets. I love it. Alex Zavala has this new lamination machine. It's called the Expert by OkaMaster. The way that pressed, the way it laminated, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. If you guys want to press it that way, go with OkaMaster. OkaMaster can provide you quite a bit of good of equipment. They're known for that. So let's get this started, you know. When training people, I find that taking this sheet off is easy for them. Usually I never take it off, but this blue sheet, I take it off. You know, I have my guys take it off and, you know, just press it like that with the bare glass. Makes it easier for them and less mistakes during the refurbishing process. Because when you're teaching people how to laminate and how to clean and how to separate, it gets you learn from that. You know, that's where I get my strength in many things, was when I'm teaching others how to do what we're doing here today. So now let's get an OCA sheet. The OCAs that I'm using, they're not the Tiokas, they're the Kawin. And if you've been buying Kawin Oka lately, they kind of changed it. It's stronger now. It's they promise that there's no bowl returns on these things, which I'm not so sure. Let's just, you know, put that to the test within a month or so, you know. But from what I've been using since I bought all this, might as well use it, and it hasn't been, you know, defective since. So they've been doing really good. This sheet of Oka from Kawin. How many ohms? I use 250 UM. 250 UM seems to be the perfect dimension for me. If you guys like to use a different thickness, more power to you, but I like to use 250 UM. Why that is just personal preference. If you guys think that there's another better preference, let me know, please. I do value you guys' opinion. But this is how I'm able to have the biggest success from refurbishing. So now that that's positioned, I can go ahead and position the glass. Now the settings for the temperature and the hold time and the vacuum time, I have it different. I'm going by the preference by Nancy, who she gave me the parameters on how to press this type of Kawen sheet. I'm just using it on her standards. I mean, I'm just going by her word. So if you guys know a better preference, please let me know in the comments. I'm just doing the way she suggested because she believes that this is the best way. So if it is the best way, let's go for it. You know, I'm just trying it out. So far, it's so good on my end. I haven't seen any problems, but like I said, if you guys have a better suggestion, please let me know. So if you can look at this over the light, we can always identify there's always 4 bubbles on each corner end of the glass. And when I spoke to Nancy, she said, I told her like, okay, do I put in the autoclave after this? She suggested that there's no need, that just to pull it, even though that there's bubbles right there, pull it off and laminate the LCD right then and there. So that's what we're gonna do for this video. And let's see how it turns out, okay? Huge suggestion for you guys, because this is a stronger sheet of lamination, OCA sheet, and they're really hard to take off from the plastic. I normally put a dab of tape on the bottom and the top, just to prevent the glass from popping off. You can see I've been doing a lot of these. Let's get that LCD ready with the LCD mold. And as you can see, the LCD gotten straight already as it is, but not super straight like the other one. It still kind of wants to form back as it once was. So it's going to be a little cumbersome trying to get this aligned to the glass. I'm hoping it doesn't come out crooked, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to try and give it a shot anyways for you guys, okay? I normally don't like working it like this. I'm a man of perfection, as they say. Not that you guys aren't either. We all are perfectionists. Okay. Now before I press that, let's change that black sponge or whatever it's called, the black rubber. Change it to the one that's molded for the LCD so it doesn't hurt the flex cables. Look at this, it's already wanting to deform. But for the sake of the video, let's get this pressed. We're gonna clean this LCD, make it sure everything's spotless. I like using this refiner. I get it from fixphonestore.com. An amazing liquid. I call it the refiner. It makes everything that's an LCD spotless. I love it, and I can't seem to use any other liquid other than this one. The smell of the chemical doesn't bother me, but if it bothers you, be sure you're wearing your masks. And that goes for any chemical that you guys are using, because sometimes these chemicals can be harmful. I've been using this chemical for 3-4 years. I haven't had any harm from it. So again, I'm just making sure that this LCD is spotless. No dust, no lint caught in between. I'm just scratching off any OCA residue that's still kind of stuck on the LCD. Once I scratch that off, it should be easier to take off with the refiner. So. Let's get the tester ready while it presses. Look at you guys. Nice and perfect and clean. Aside from the little small bubbles that the autoclave will take off, it is purely magical. This is the kind of results we all want for our business. Let's test it out. There's no sign of lint, no sign of anything in between due to that refiner. Nothing. So beautiful. Like magic. And again, that dead pixel's gonna be right there. Starting up. There it is. Nice and clean, nice and form. A quick test routine. As you can see, the screen is totally beautiful from edge to edge, from top to bottom. No gaps in between. Now you guys, the process that we have here as a refurbishing facility, and this is speaking for you guys who want to do this as well. If you plan to do this, or you want to do this for yourselves, please plan for it. Make sure what you're getting into, you know what you're getting into. I like to let people know that if you're gonna have a dedicated person just to clean and press, that's gonna be their sole job. If you wanna have a person to separate and wipe off the OCA and clean off the OCA, that should be their priority and main job. And another one to separate glass. There's 3 major steps to these, and the first step is to also test your LCDs before you approach a refurbishing, and to test it after the refurbishing is done, because you never know in between the steps if there was an error or not. I tend to test them the beginning of refurbishing and the end of the refurbishing. I refrained from testing in between. It became an eventuality for me because I know when I damage these things, and when I damaged them and I didn't know I damaged them, that's when you kind of want to press the brakes a little bit and figure out where you damaged it. But if you know where you damaged it, you know that not to do that again. It was just a mistake, and you want to learn from that mistake. So yeah, I mean, I believe that with a team of 3 people, 300 Samsung LCDs can be done, possibly more, in a month. I'm just saying, you guys, with a good mentality, a good team, and a good training to make sure everything's going well, 300 to 500. So that's all, you guys. There you have it. If you have any questions regarding the process, please let me know. If there's anything you guys need to ask me, please let me know. I'm just here to help for you guys, and that's pretty much it. So thank you and goodbye.